Imagine this, July 1947, a deep night in the deserts of New Mexico. Thunder rolls across the sky, lightning flashes, and then an explosion. Far away, silent, but powerful. Something has crashed, but it's not a plane, and it's not a meteorite. The next morning, a rancher named Mac Brazel wakes up. He notices his sheep gathered in one corner of the field, nervous, afraid. Some refuse to go near a certain area. When he walks over, he sees debris scattered across the ground. Strange debris. It looks like metal, but it's light as paper, thin yet unbreakable. When he tries to bend it, it snaps back to its original shape. It's as if the material remembers. Brazel picks up a few pieces, puts them in a sack, and drives to town. He takes them to the local sheriff. The sheriff calls the military. Within hours, the army arrives. They surround the area. Soldiers begin collecting every single piece. They even remove soil, bushes, fencing. Nothing is left behind. Then, the next day, an official press release. The U.S. Army announces, quote, "We have recovered a flying disc." The newspapers go wild, headlines across the country. The public is stunned. For the first time, the government admits to something from the sky. But 24 hours later, everything changes. A second press release is issued. The Army claims it was a weather balloon, not a flying saucer. They release photos, show different debris, something metallic but ordinary. Sticks, foil, rubber, but something is off. What they show on camera doesn't match what Brazel found. It's not the same shape, not the same material. The locals begin to doubt the story. Witnesses say they saw more. Strange lights, humming sounds. Some say they saw creatures, small bodies, big heads, not human. The rumors spread, but no one talks publicly. The Army made sure of that. They warned people, told them to stay silent. There were consequences. One base mechanic who spoke too much was found dead a week later. Official cause, heart attack. He was 35, healthy, athletic. The Roswell story started to fade, but not for long. In 1978, a nuclear physicist and researcher named Stanton Friedman enters the scene. He tracks down Major Jesse Marcel, the same man photographed holding the so-called debris in 1947. Marcel tells Friedman the truth. What he held in the photo was not what they found. It was a staged photo. The real material was not from Earth, and the government knew that, and they covered it up. That interview reignites interest in the Roswell crash. More witnesses come forward. Ranchers, medics, soldiers. They all tell the same story. Unbreakable metal, fear, and a massive cover-up. Some describe seeing bodies, not human. Others mention a strange smell, metallic and sweet, that lingered for days. A medic claimed he was called in the middle of the night, ordered to stay quiet. He examined a body. It had no ears, no nose, and eyes far larger than any human's. Decades passed. The government stayed quiet. But in 1994, a new explanation emerged. Officials admitted the weather balloon story was a lie. The crash was actually part of Project Mogul, a top-secret operation using high altitude balloons to detect Soviet nuclear tests. But again, things didn't add up. Nothing in Project Mogul's records matches. The bizarre materials or the witness accounts. No mention of strange bodies. No mention of materials that couldn't burn, bend, or break. Then came the 2000s. A former CIA officer on his deathbed confessed he had seen the debris. And yes, there had been a being. One of the crash victims was alive. The military kept it hidden for almost a year. Then everything disappeared. No body, no records, no witnesses. Another technician described a levitating triangle. It hovered in midair. No wires, no power, just floating. When you moved around it, the color changed. It didn't belong on this planet. And then you have to ask, if this was all just fantasy, why would dozens of people repeat the same story for decades? Why risk their careers, their lives? One military engineer said that a year after Roswell, strange new technologies began arriving on base. Microchips, fiber optics, lasers, compact transistors. No one knew where they came from. There were no patents, no research. They just appeared. Many believe these technologies were reverse engineered. Taken from the Roswell. Debris, studied, copied, and slowly introduced into civilian life. Today, when the Pentagon publicly releases videos of unidentified objects flying in ways we can't explain, we come back to one old question. What really happened in Roswell? Was it the first confirmed contact? And if so, why was it buried? In 2023, whistleblowers testify before the U.S. Congress under oath. Military pilots, intelligence officers. They say one thing: we have retrieved non-human craft, and we have recovered non-human biologicals. These are not our vehicles, and not from this world. So now think again. If we discovered something in 1947, what have we found since? And why is the truth still hidden? Maybe the reason is fear. Maybe it's control. Maybe we're simply not ready to accept what's out there. But that crash in the New Mexico desert changed everything. From that moment on, we knew we were no longer alone in the universe. Roswell is not just a story about a UFO crash. It's a story about power, secrecy, a truth so big it had to be buried. And maybe the biggest secret of all is still ahead of us.